Today is the day we are going to open up the September project of the month. I'm so glad that you're here. That means that you are definitely a stencil fan, and I want to show you everything you can do with this. All right, when you get your box, this is how it's going to come. We ship it in the flat box so that it goes cheaper. So that is one of the reasons it goes in here. And then you just pull the tab and pull out what's inside. Okay, so this is what we have inside. We have a surface. So everything is in a bag, so that keeps it weatherproof in case this cardboard gets damaged in rain, snow, that kind of things. So everything is in a bag for safekeeping. And then when you open it up, you're gonna see a bunch of different parts. So this can look a little bit like daunting, but I just want you to know this is amazing because everything is like granimals, if you remember those from the past, where you can do everything in different ways. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna give you a tour today about how to do that. So you get a special coupon in your packaging. You get some stickers to spread around your journals or tumblers or coolers, and it just has a lot of painting love on those. And then we came up with these adorable two-part stencils. So our stencil has the part that you're gonna base coat, and then it gives you the top details. One of the complaints that I have as a decorative artist is that when I started using stencils, everything is flat and it just doesn't have any depth to it. And so we came up with the two-part stencil method so that you can put depth on it if you want to. So it's totally flexible and you can leave it or put it on whichever way you want to go. Okay, and then we have, this is like the one I'm going to demo today. This one's already painted, so I'll show you that in just a little bit. Okay, and it has a few more stickers in it. I love this mandala one. And then this is #1 stencil fan, because that's what we are. Okay, and then this has some really cool stuff in it. So we have a printed flyer. This has got a little piece of sticky on it to keep it in place. And that just rubs off, by the way. It's super like removable. Okay, so this is just a little catalog. On the back of it, it tells you about our paint chip chart. It tells you about the brushes, and it tells you, it gives you QR codes to go find all of these things. Super important. And then it shows you how to stencil. If you're someone that has had problems stenciling before, you want to pay attention to this so that you don't have any bleeding under or any of that stuff. Okay, then on the inside, what I love about this inside right here is it gives you, I'm not showing you this one because this is what we're going to do today. It gives you a bunch of examples, and then it shows you the paint colors that we used for these examples. So that is super awesome. It tells you what's in your kit and shows you just examples and mock-ups and things like that. So, no peeking. All right, so we're gonna go and take a look what else is in here. So we have a truck in the same way. And so the truck, this is your base coat one, and then this is your top coat one. And what I love about this is, in the past, we've had the tires and everything on our truck in the same stencil. And now we've got them on the two, which makes it way easier, a lot less masking. We're gonna use the multi-masker. We also have tucked up here little windows. So once you get done painting both pieces, you can put the windows on top and then make the windows into gray or dark or whatever they need to be. So that is a bonus as well. Then on this one, well, this one, I'm gonna take out this one so you can see it at the same time. A lot of people, by the way, tell us that they save their bags and keep their stencils in their bags. So that's an idea to be careful when you're cutting, and you can put everything together in one. You can also save your packaging and store them that way. Okay, so this is the template for the kit. Okay, so the kit has got this guy right here in it, and it has some interesting things. It has a line here, it has a centering line, it has 2 bands on it, it fits exactly on your surface, and so this is exactly how that's going to go. And then and you don't have the word laser written on yours. This is my sample. Anyway, but this works with this whole alphabet that we gave you on this sheet. And it has lines underneath that correlate with the lines here, either on the banding or there, so that you can tell how far or how low your lettering is going to be. Makes layout so much easier. And then that centering tool, I'm going to show you how to do that. The centering tool makes it so that you can start with your middle letter. If it's the letter K, you can line it all up, stencil that, and then on either side you can put your other lettering. It's super easy to do. And then we gave you some words like welcome is universal for all of these round signs for your door, and then hello, and then fall. So you can pick and choose, or you can put whatever words you want on it. And then these guys are the fall emblems, so you can use those however you want. What I love about this is you can pick and choose and use them interchangeably. We've also given you a line here, and you could cut these apart individually. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stencils on one sheet. So that's a very awesome thing. And that would make it a little bit easier to manage. So when you're ready to use them, you could leave it whole or you can trim them apart, and we gave you a line to do that. All right, let's get started. I've got a number 1 oval glaze. I'm going to use a couple of colors of cream. So I've got number 79 and number 22. I'm going to start with the 22, and I might just go ahead and switch to a foam brush. So we'll go with number 22, and we're going to just give our wood a base coat. In order to keep the edges clean, you want to make sure that you're flicking up and off the piece as you go. And then if it matters, if you're not going to base coat it and you're going to glaze it, you want to keep your lines straight in one direction. Otherwise, craziness can happen. So I'm just going to go ahead. It doesn't really matter for this because I'm going to be doing a slip slap thing, but I want to show you the rules about how to keep your edges clean so that you don't fight your projects. On StudioR12 and YouTube, we are all about giving you all the education that you need to make painting easy. So make sure you check us out, subscribe, ring that bell. See us on Facebook, all the things. There's so many ways to get content these days. Okay, so this is just going to be one thin coat. I'm going to dry it in between with my blow dryer, and then I'll come back, give it a second coat, and then I'm going to do the crazy technique. Okay, I got 3 coats on here, and I think that's pretty well based. But I want to stop and pause, let that cure for a minute, and talk to you about the one that we painted in very traditional fall look. Okay, so this has got a cream background as well, probably the same number. Maybe it's the number 79. But what I love about this is this shows you how to use all the different parts. So on your template, you have got your bands, you have the bands around, you have the bands across, and you have 3 divided areas. Okay, so in one area, you could leave it blank. You could use this band and you could tape it and you could paint that a whole nother color. You could paint this a different color and this a different color. I've seen all the different ways. Something that occurred to me when I was getting ready for my project that I'm doing is you could take and you could have that be upside right like this so that you have a big weight down here, or you could flip it upside down and you could have your weight up here, so then you could have your pumpkins at the top, and then here you could put your heavy pattern up down here and then have your hello this way. So there's a bunch of ways you can do it. The surface is also reversible, so you can paint on both sides, so they're the same on either side. They're laser cut, so they're super precise. And so then when you are using your lettering, we talked about this a little bit already. When you're using that lettering, then you just line up. There's a little etched line down here. You line that up and it has a centering line. So we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we want this to be 1, 2, 3, 4 in. And so we can line it up there. We can line it up higher, although now I'm getting my other band. So then I need to line it down lower. And so that is just super easy way to line it up. And then if you're going to do your different letters, then you're going to decide which letter is in the middle. You'll paint that letter first, and then you paint the one on that side and the one on that side, spacing them evenly. And then it's always a good idea to go ahead and do like a little test sample on a piece of cardboard so that you know how long it's going to be, because you don't want to run out of room when you get to either end. So that's a really good idea too. Okay, so that is what all the pieces are for. And then we talked about also, if you were painting this project, then you would paint your band one color. Didn't talk about this. These pieces are super cool because they are there to decorate your band. So if I was doing something that needed stars, then I could totally go across with stars. This can check the band once you paint it. You can polka dot that band. It's super fun. And then these patterns are also staged so that you can move it along up and down, and so it's repeatable. Both of these are. So you can fill a whole area with that, and they're also made to fit this middle area right here. So much good stuff. And then you can also use all of your leaves and everything individually. I love this kit. It is just such a great kit. So I hope that you enjoy it too. Make sure you give us feedback. Social is only good if we're being social, so make sure that you're social. All right, so let's go. Feel if we're dry. If it's cold, then you're not dry, and that's important to know. We're gonna use an accent color, number 49, and I don't think we've used this one for a hot second, so I'm gonna give it a good shake. This is gonna be ever so scant a bit of accent color. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-wet our surface using my oval glaze brush all the way across. You could also keep a little squirt bottle handy. We're in the end of summertime, and so maybe just giving it just a little mist will keep it moistened. So depending on your climate, that can be when you make that decision. So this technique that we're using right here is called wet in wet blending. Okay, and then we'll just give everybody a mist. And now I'm going to dry off my paper towel. And I'm going to go into that number 79, and then I'm going to do what I call slip slapping. And that means I'm just making a series of X slapping down the paint in a bunch of just random patterns. And what's going to happen is it's going to blend with my cream color. And it's just going to make the background have just some movement. I've got a really good tool I'm going to grab. This is the towel tool. When you want to keep your project still and it wants to float around with you, this is just a Dollar Tree towel. You can see it's been used before. Then you put that on there and things don't move around as much. And so we just slip slap around. The goal is to make it dreamy looking. And then I want to also, whoops, a little bit too much. If you get too much, let's talk about that. If you get too much going on, you can go back in the original color and break it up. So if you don't like something, paint is your best eraser. Okay, now I'm going to put that down, and then I want to get with a little bit. I'm going to make a color. I'm going to go with black, with like a drop of black, and then a drop of numbers. That's 28. This is 42. I want to make a little bit of a shading color. So it's a little bit of green that I'm going to use in my truck. I did not pull out my brown, so I'll get that now. This is 17. So I'm kind of making just a mishmash little color. I want something dark, but something gentle dark. All right, so I'm going to go into my tan. I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to grab a little bit of my black for cool, a little bit of my green for color, Maybe just a little bit of brown for tone. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go right around outside here randomly with a really soft touch. I want this to kind of be a frame. Let's give us a squirt. So if I don't like that one, I can come back to it with my other color. I can go a little bit darker with one, and one of a touch of each of those, and I could just build my edge. But within that color I've already put down so it's not too sudden. And then I can go through with this just a feather touch, and I can sneak in a little bit of that color, just so feathery. And now I'll wipe my brush out, pick up my tan as a base. Notice that's not super like loaded, it's just got a little bit on it. I'm going to pick out my blue color, blend it on my brush, maybe a little bit more of the tan. And then I'm going to give a little hint here and there. Little pop of color. And then what I'll do is I'll go back, dirty brush, pick up my cream color 22, and I'll go back and highlight myself with that number 22. It's a lot going on, but it's super fun to do. I do hope you give it a try. If this intimidates you, just paint it number 22 and you're going to be fine. But this is just a way that you can get some movement, and it's like a little bit more DIY and artistic touch. Definitely something worth practicing. And if I wanted to, I could go into number 27, which is white, and give it one more level of highlight. I went ahead and went to lunch and left it in front of just a regular fan, just because you get a lot of wet going on surfaces. It's really good to have them cured so that you don't peel up when you tape and do that kind of stuff. So we're going to put our stencil on our piece, and you can direct it so that you like what you're seeing. Like maybe I don't want those at the bottom, maybe I like them at the top. So you can position it however you want. Then we take 2 pieces of tape, and we're going to take advantage of our inside holes. We're going to do our outside bands first. So we'll tape on one, and then come over here and we'll tape across the other, and then that makes our stencil super secure. So we're going to take an ink sweeper, and that's going to be nice and long, and it will do a lot of the work for us all at one time. And I need another color. I think I've got about 10 colors on the table. Our paints are in Decor Americana and in Sherwin-Williams. We have total, I think, around 75, 80. The numbers go to 80. About 80 colors, we'll just call it 80, of paint, but we don't use them all the time. But you do need a variety. So I'm going to put out number 18. So I have number 51, number 42, number 79 right here, 18, and number 9. And those are going to be mixed, and they're going to be my burnt orange color. So we'll go in, the dark red is going to be super strong, so I'm going to mix just a little bit of it. So 2 chocolate chip drops to 1 chocolate chip, so 2 of the orange to 1 of the rustier red. And I find that I'm being slightly a fibber right now. I think I'm going to want all of that red in there. The red's not being, I keep forgetting red's pigment is not as strong, so when you put red into something and mix it, it's not going to be as powerful. It looks like a dark color, but it's not as strong. Okay, so now we'll go into our ink sweeper. You have to offload with ink sweepers the same way that you do for your dome brushes. And if you notice, the ink sweeper is domed in all the directions as well, and it's super dense. It's not a poofy guy. It's just a nice dense applicator, and then we tap it to blend it all over our applicator over here. And then you notice I'm tapping this way and tapping this way, and then I'm going to go over here and tap it off. We don't want a bunch of paint swimming around. Now I'm going to hold one side of this, and as I move, I'm going to hold the other side. We're going to just hold that all the way around. I could use an adhesive on the back of it, and that would work great. I just find that if I'm just a little bit cautious and just hang on to it a little bit, then I'm good. Once you get some paint on it, it tends to hold itself down, except for right now when I'm saying that. And then we'll just keep moving our hands. And then if you leave a fingerprint behind, let's go ahead and get our multi-masker out. So I have a little pile of multi-maskers. You will find that you will use them in a couple, like pairs, so you'll want those all the time. So I can put these across right here, and then I can get rid of my fingerprints, which I did a good job of putting on there. Okay. And then I can just move these along. So if you ghost your band, which ghosting means that I went into an area that was close. So because I'm going to base that, I'm not going to worry about that. When I base it, I will make sure I have a multi-masker on this side so I don't get these bands, and then I'll base that in and it'll be perfect. So 2 coats, and then once I got it sliding around, those maskers worked great. So let's take a little peeky poo and see what we think. Perfection. Now I'm going to hit the blow dryer. We have that dry. We're going to paint our bands. We're going to do one. We're going to get all the way to the end of one. Let me move my tapes to the very ends. And so we'll do this guy. Remove our tapes. And then when we get to the end, we'll take that away, finish it, and now I have to mix a color. So I want this to be a little bit of a gold. So what we're doing right now as a design technique or a color technique is we are going to paint our truck green, and that's in these darker greens up here. And then we are going to do our bands in a little bit of the gold that you'll see in the leaves, but I want to tone it to the green. And then this is the rust that will be in the leaves as well. So we're trying to carry our colors around. So we've got our gold, which is number 25. And we want to make a kind of a fuddly green neutral. So I'm mixing number 42 with number 25. And now I've got some sort of a neutral goldish color. I'm going to wipe off my palette knife. I'm going to pick up number 79, and I'm going to mix that to be a goldy greeny kind of a color. Kind of equal. And maybe I'll drag in one more gold, just so it reads more yellow than green. So when you're mixing your colors, if you can, when I was getting ready to do this project, I was looking around on the internet, I was looking around in my books that I have, I was looking for color inspiration. You look for a color family, like you wouldn't choose a purple with a gold with a orange. You know, you kind of be like, these colors go together for this reason. And then some colors are going to be strong and some colors are going to be a little bit more, and then the main color. So green is going to be our main color here. So we want this greeny gold so it doesn't read too yellow. So there's a little bit of balance that goes on with this. Just find a color that you love in a picture and then pull your paint colors out of it and you will be golden. not the color golden. Okay, so now we're going to take our mix of our greeny gold. We're going to take our masker. And we'll just get that on there. If you don't like bridges, which is the part that connects the stencil together, then you can take a little brush after and you can make it not bridged by filling it in. You'll find most of the bridging fades away. Okay, so we'll just go down the line. I'm holding my stencil down because that's a big long opening. All right, when we get to the end, we don't want to go right against that tape because it's going to make a harsh line. So we want to stop right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this away. Put my tape down over there. Use the masker so I don't smudge my banding lines. Then I'll lay that right against there. So much easier than tape, guys. Trust me on that. I'll go back over the line for solid. And then we'll go finish out this line. I'll probably go back over the line, then move that tape at the end. Hold that down. Put the masker down. This is when you have to have like 5 fingers going all at one time. Put the masker, and let's take a look. And ta-da! So if you didn't like those banding lines, now everything's not on here yet, so it's a really bad time to judge. You want to judge that more towards the end. If I didn't like those banding lines, then I could put 2 maskers on either side and tap, tap, tap. Fade them in. You could fade them in, you can fill them in, whichever way you like, but you'll see the difference right here with fading. So it's way less obvious, and so that's a trick that you can do. Okay, if you wanted to use a brush, we'll just cover this one right now while we're talking about it. You could take just a round brush and you could go in and you could fill them in. And that takes seconds. So not hard to do. If you are using a round brush, make sure you wash it out. Don't let it sit in the bottom of your water and make a little S hook on the end of your brush. Okay, so brush is going into our water basin. When you're using the dome brushes, you can't use them wet, so you need to make sure that you have a set or a couple sets of them. So now we're ready to add, let's call it the truck. Let's give the truck a little turn. Okay, so we're going to do the big holy hole parts first. And then what I recommend you do is you lay both pieces together, because there's bumpers and there's tires, and you need to make sure that you're all inside your shape. And you also need to make sure you're straight to the line. So you want to just kind of give that a little eyeball as well. And I think we're going to call that, and I put the wrong piece on top, so we'll go backwards. The neat thing about these all being the same size and cut together as a set is they work so good. Okay, see if we think we're straight. You could take your truck and you could send it that direction or that direction, whichever way you're comfortable with. Give them a little tapey poo. Lift it over, give them a tape on the other side. Make sure we still think we're straight. And there we go. And I think I'll add one more tape to the bottom just to keep everything in place. It's a lot of details on there, so there we go. And then I think we're going to jumbo dauber with this one. Anytime you have a big hole or a big opening, you want to use your jumbo daubers because they will absolutely keep the paint from looking like little polka dots. You don't want that. Okay, we're going to use our jumbo dauber, which is also domed. Are we getting a hint here? That dome is amazing. So we're going to use number 42. We're going to plop, plop, plop over on our palette, and then we're going to plop, plop a little bit over there, and we'll just get this nice and based. We'll do thin coats, it dries really fast, but we're going to move sequentially, meaning that we're going to move from the wet place to the next place. If you move from one side to the other, you will make polka dots or drying problems, so don't do that. So stencils are reusable, which means that when I lay this down and I do something, like that looks to me to be a bumper. If I don't want that bumper to be green, I can lay the stencil right back over it when I get done and I can make that be a silver bumper. So because they're reusable, that means you can lay them back over and you can change your colors and do some really cool effects with them. Okay, so now we are going to address our little hubcaps. We are going to go ahead and put these in the green just because history says they're sometimes paint matched. So we're going to do them in the green. If I need to, I can lay my stencil right back over and take it off. All right, so we have our hubcaps based in just a light little green. I want to add some of, this is the step where you're going to add some of your vehicle details because we're going to cover some stuff up with our next screen, mask, whatever you want to call it, stencil. And so that's going to cover some stuff, but I want to put this layer on so when it covers everything uniformly. I don't want to go backwards. So we're going to just get a little dome brush. And we're going to take our number 51 and we're going to, where we think shadows would be cast, going to make things just be a little bit dark where shadows would be. So I'm just rubbing, just like I'm doing my stenciling, like when I swirl, but I'm just rubbing instead. And that's just going to give it some depth and make it a little bit 3D. You can have some going at the top, kind of like a shadow effect. Almost like kind of outline. Okay, and then I'll wipe my brush off. I'll pick up some of that gold. And just in my dirty brush, this ought to be light enough to add just a little bit of a highlight swirl so we get dimension. And if it's not enough of a dirty brush, I can go in and mix a little bit of that color in there. And then I'll pick up that color, and now it's not going to be very dirty, and I will give it just a little bit of extra. You want to be careful with these really skinny lines that you don't push against them. So if they're up and down lines, you hold your stencil down and give it a little bit of rubbing the way that it would go. Okay, and then we take a peek. See what we think. I think we could be a little bit more extra. So now I'll dirty brush in just a little bit of the cream and just give it just a little bit of inside that gold. Maybe even just give it some direction going that way, like all going across. Like shiny. Take a peek. Yeah, I think that'll do it. See how that just gives it that little bit of movement, a little bit of depth in it. I like that. So now we'll lay this over. On this stencil, you're going to line up the wheels on the circles. Give us the tapes. And now we're going to do this layer in black. Okay, and so I am going to go ahead and tape mask the hubcaps because I don't want to think about holding them down. All right. We're not going to do the wood because we're going to put leaves in the back of there. So I'm going to go up here, mask myself. You notice that a lot of these lines cross over some of the other lines. What I love about that is it makes it for easy cleanup, and it really prevents you from having butting edges of your stencils together. So by having that lay over each other, it makes it cleaner, if that makes any sense. So it's a really good way to do an overlay like this. So now I'm going to blow dry and we'll do round 2. Okay. I'm going to leave the wheels alone for a hot second. I'm going to see what I like when we pull this off. And yeah, look how sharp that is. Like, that's vintage right there. That is a vintage looking vehicle. Notice how all of the little white outlines gives you the outlines. So the black is there to shade and the white is there to give you the outline and the crispness so you can see the truck. I love it. This is fantastic. Okay, now we're gonna move on to leaves. I'm gonna put this in the water. I'm gonna blow dry this and we're gonna put leaves in the back of our truck blowing away, and we'll put our wood siding on. What I am going to do is I am going to go ahead and cut this down the line and separate these so that I can do them individually. I don't like giant stencils on littler boards, but that is an option. You can choose either way. And then these guys are gonna be coming out the back of that truck, so I am gonna mask. So what I'll do is I'll take my masker and I'm gonna give it a little piece of tape to hold him down in 2 spots. That way it's masked. And then you're gonna love this technique because it is just so sweet and simple. Tape you down. So what I hope that you're picking up from this, like, we're making this pieces. The pumpkins are definitely an easier piece. If you don't want things in the back of the truck, you can put the wood right on. The truck can live just like it is, okay? But you can do hearts in it for Valentine's Day. You can use your stencil over and over so you have a year-round stencil, American flag, coming out of the back of the truck, apples, all the things, like whatever you love to celebrate, you can use this truck universally. So we just really wanted you to have a piece that you could use over and over. So we're going to start out with our lightest color, which is going to be our golden color, number 25. And I'm going to pick that up, blend that off of my brush. I want it to be really soft. And then I'm masked right there and I don't go on, oops, hi, that tape was not sticking very well. I'll hold my stencil down and then I'm just gonna give everybody a golden color. And then I'll pick up my other colors and I'll kiss on these golden leaves. Okay, and I can dirty brush because I've got enough of that paint in there. Just on like one little side right there. Really wipe it off. And then I can go with that one side and I can lead to some areas. Just give it a little kiss on one side or the other. Leave those. Now I have to switch brushes. I'll go into one of my small brushes and I've got to make a green gold. So I'm going to use my gold and then I'm going to pick up just a little bit of my green, a little bit more of my green. It was like a lot. Now back into the gold. And now on these guys, we want to make them just be a little bit green here and there. And then we might want just a little bit stronger right on the tips. So everything's not the same. Okay, and then he goes into the bath and out comes some red. Notice that this is the color, this is the color, this is the color, these are the colors. I'm using all the same colors and just floating them around. Okay, let's take a peek. Oh, sure, now it won't come up. Yeah. And blow dry, and now let's put some wood siding on. All right, I've got my masker. I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. I'm just gonna tape that onto my stencil, and the second masker is coming out too, but I'm not gonna tape him down. So I want this to be wood. That's gonna be number 17, and I think it'll be number 17 plus a color. So I'm gonna pull in brown, pull in my cream. So I want this lighter so that I can add some shadowy stuff to it. So I'll hold the masker, get a kind of a browny color. Actually, I think I'm going to reverse. I'm just going to do brown. All right, now through that, I think I'll switch brushes. Go into little guy. See what we look like. Oh, cute. Now I'm going to need a few. Oh, that looks really good with the little highlights. I think I want a little bit of lowlights. So a little bit of the black. I'll neutralize my color in my brush. Okay, and so then what we'll do is everywhere where, let's get more black. Everywhere where there would be a base or a connection. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, so now we have a truck bed full of leaves. Now we need a couple of them to fly out. Okay, so I'm just having fun here, just painting a scene, just enjoying having little bits and pieces. Like, please let this be inspiring for you. Okay, so we need a couple of leaves. So we'll take our brush with our yellow in it. I think we'll go with a skinny guy right here. Okay, and then this guy's flying out the back. Pick up some of our orange. This guy back over here. And then you could put some underneath your tires. And so you just twist them and turn them how you want to. And then flitter them along. So these down here on the ground shouldn't be as strong as the ones that are up in the main truck. So we'll leave these be just a little bit like vague. So they're just kind of here and there on the ground. So cute. You guys, that's so fun. So we haven't put our little window in. What I love about the stencil is it has the windshield wiper, and then your window has a mask for your windshield wiper. So when you go in there with some gray, I think I'll fake my gray. I'm going to use number 49 rather than bringing in a whole nother color. That color plus a little bit of black and a little bit of the cream will make a nice windowy color. Peek. Yeah. All right, so I have measured my fall word on either side and gotten it about where I want it. I'm going to have a ribbon and stuff on the top of this, so I'm not too worried about center. But if you're a center person, make sure that you measure really close. I'm going to use a gray green, which is basically my cream plus number 42. 79 plus 42 equals gray green. All right, and then we're just going to put that there. We're going to need to peek at this. See if we like it. It's a little bit faint, so let's go back for a little bit more. I think because of the dark, I think I may have to just go dark. And then I think I might anchor them up at the bottom with a little bit of black. Almost like an ombre. Yeah, that's a nice pop. That looks great. Okay, and then we're gonna put a pattern up on top. This guy's gonna go up here. And what I love about it is you can make him go right on the line and shove him over a little bit. And he basically goes edge to edge. Gold plus green. Plus number 79. Plus 79. And then we're just going to scumble, keeping right inside our banding lines. This is a hint of a pattern, and it's not like a, oh my gosh, all the things, but I love that this just nods to sweater weather, and that is what fall is all about. So you could even go and get yourself all of your banding edges first while you're focused. Okay, let's take a little peek. Awesome, look at how cute. Oh, I think spattering in between here, so I'm gonna take Mr. Paper Towel and Mr. Paper Towel. I'm gonna lay that right on there. I was gonna put checks in my green stripes, but I feel like they have enough going on. So we'll take the White Wonder, and then we'll take a little bit of, I think a little bit of orange. Heavy-handed brush. And then a little bit of green. Let's see what we have. Yeah, that's super fun. Okay, and now we just need to talk about finishing. Hanging and finishing. So if you're gonna hang it outside, polyurethane varnish. If you're going to hang it inside, then you can totally do just a wax or even leave it blank, because there is sealer and stuff in a lot of these paints. So you don't really have to do anything to seal it for inside use. And then to hang, what you can do with both of these, I've got them both naked, if you will, from hanging. So you can do both sides. If you do both sides, I recommend drilling a hole, 1 hole or 2 holes, and I recommend putting a little rope or a ribbon through the top. And if you do a rope or a ribbon, you can also add a bow, which would be so sweet. And then if you're going to do only one side, then command strips are your friend. And these are also sized small enough that you could actually fit them in a wreath. So you could wire them into a wreath as well. And these are so much fun. And then you have a plethora of stencils to use on all your other projects. I hope that you love this, and I hope you show us your paintings. This concludes the lesson for the September project of the month. I hope to see you in October.